When we fix our eyes on the world, we begin to struggle with one thought. How is it that the unrighteous, the wicked people prosper? How is it that we who are walking in the ways of the Lord go through such struggles, tests and trials? And why is it that they who do not know the Lord prosper? Well, when we open up our Bibles to Psalm 73 verse 2 and 3, we see the psalmist too having this struggle. And not just the struggle, he says, I nearly left God. Sometimes we too have this thought and we wonder whether it's even worth it to run after God. Well, here the psalmist says in verse 2 and 3 of Psalm 73, but as for me, my feet had almost stumbled. My steps had nearly slipped. That means I nearly left God. In verse 3 says, for I was envious of the boastful. When I saw the prosperity of the wicked, we see a struggle, right? Common. He too went through it and we too go through the same. But then we see in verse 17, when his eyes opened, he says in verse 17, until I went into the sanctuary of God, then I understood their end. That means the moment he took off his eyes from the world and fixed it upon God, began to seek God, he began to understand that not all that glitters is gold. That what seems to be prosperity before our eyes in reality is really a question whether they are truly enjoying life. Well, as for you and me, when we spend time growing in the Lord, when we begin to walk according to the principles of the Lord, we may see times of test and trial, but we also see times where God places the table for us, where he anoints our head with oil and our cup overflows. So though for temporary moments we may go through tests and trials, but because we are seekers of God, because our eyes are fixed on God, we know that at the end of it all, we begin to see ourselves lifted up to a greater position. The life that God gives us, we begin to enjoy it. But the things in the world are contrary, are opposite. They may seem to be enjoying now, but the truth of the matter is, when God is not in it, there is truly no life in it. Well, I want us to keep our eyes fixed on God. The psalmist, he too had his struggles, just like you and me. But he fixed his eyes back on God and his eyes opened to understand the truth. The same way, when we fix our eyes on God, we will truly get understanding that tells us that life is found in God and God alone. Take God out of the picture. You may get the prosperity, you may get wealth, but the question is, would you really enjoy it without God? God bless you.